This is Tools for Teens, where the smart get smarter. Today in part 1 of this unit, we will learn how to install and run a video game locally. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Tools for Teens. This is where the smart gets smarter. Today we're starting this journey of learning how to build video games. And we're going to sort of reverse engineer this whole process. So the first step is going to GitHub. And as always, I will include all the links to all these platforms. So just choose the lesson here, go to the guide, and then you'll find the links. So here you're going to go to this button and you're going to download the zip folder. All right. So that's the first step. Note that it is zipped. So before you can use it, you need to unzip the folder. So I've created a folder here named Building Video Games, and I'm just going to save the folder there. Okay, so that's going to take a few minutes. Okay, and it's done. If you remember our little hack on how to work faster, I'm going to go directly to this button that says Show it in folder. All right, and that takes me to the folder where I just saved it. There it is. And now I can right click and extract everything. So my computer is actually in Spanish. You just look for the extract option and just say extract. Okay, and now you can see the folder has been extracted. Before I do anything else, I want to make sure that my file path is nice and neat and that I know exactly where which folder lies. So I will create a folder in my documents folder. You can decide wherever you want to put this folder. And I'll name this Tools for Teens Video Game Test. All right. So now I'm going to take this folder that I've extracted. I'm going to cut it from here. So I can Control X and paste it inside this folder. So just to make it clear to you what I'm doing, I'm cutting that from one folder, putting it into another folder. And one last thing, what you will notice is that inside this arcade development folder is another arcade development folder. And that's not very neat. So what I'm actually going to do is all of the content inside this folder, I'm just going to move that out. So I'm going to select everything, Control A, Control X to cut it out of there. And I actually want it inside this main folder. So I'll just move that to the arcade development folder. All right. So this arcade development folder is now empty and I can just delete that. So that just makes the file path a little cleaner. Now I have Tools for Teens Video Game Test, Arcade Development. All right. I want you to get used to reading and copying the file path because we're going to use it a lot. So what you'll see here is that my arrow, if I move it a little bit to the right, becomes a cursor. There it is. So if I click there, it highlights the file path. And now I can very easily copy paste that file path. Okay, I want you to get used to doing that. Now, we're going to focus on this Pi project file, all right? Sometimes it could be the README file. When in doubt, just take a screenshot and ask ChatGPT which file will give me the specifications of this video game, all right? So this Pi project file is what we're going to focus on. So now I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and my first step is to give ChatGPT context. Okay, so if you remember in the prompt engineering section, we talked about context. You can never give enough context. So I'm just going to use this voice extension that I've installed so I can just ramble on a little bit, and I'm sure ChatGPT will get the idea. I am attempting to install and run a video game. I would like to give you the specifications of the video game and also specifications of the laptop that I'm using. In that way, you can help me identify what needs to be installed, which versions need to be installed, and also you can help me when we encounter any errors during the process. Please wait for me to give you commands before you respond. Can I give you the first file and information? Okay, ChatGPT got the idea. So now I'm going to upload that into the chat. So I can either attach or drop the file into the chat. So I'm just going to upload from computer and I'm going to go to that folder that we just created. I'm going to go into the arcade development folder and that Pi project is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to open that. And now I will tell ChatGPT that this is the first piece of the puzzle. Okay, so here are the specifications of the code and the video game. that I want to run. I will also give you specifications of the laptop that I'm using. All right, so it's just going through this file, analyzing it a little bit, all right? And what it says here, I've reviewed, it indicates the game is built using Python 3.9 or later, and some libraries that it's talking about, additional development tools such as are included. Perfect. Now I want to give it a little bit more context. So now I want to give ChatGPT the details of the laptop that I'm using. The good news is I'm using a very entry-level laptop. So if I can do this, you can do this. So how do we get the information that we need? If you're running Windows, you're going to press the Windows key and the letter R. That brings up this little pop-up window. And now inside that window, you're going to type MS info 32 and you just say accept. Now that's going to bring up all of the system information that you can now copy paste into ChatGPT, and that gives ChatGPT a lot of context. I'm just going to click here and I'm going to Control A to select everything. I'm going to Control C to copy that, and I'm going to paste this into the chat. And this is great news because now ChatGPT has a lot of information to help me through this process. So as you noted, one of the things that you will need to install to run this video game is Python. And you can probably just download the latest version. Note, the version I downloaded that works perfectly is 3.12.6, but I don't think you will have any problems even if you run the latest version. If you want to look for a specific version, you can just go down this list and there it is, 3.12.6. All right, you choose the download option and then you look for the version that is compatible with what you are using, whether that be Windows, Mac, or Linux. So I have already installed Python. You can just go through the process and just don't forget to tick the box that says add Python to path. So I'll include a picture in the guide section. And one final thing we need to install is Visual Studio Code. So just be careful. You want to look for the blue icon, not the purple one. So I'm just going to click into this website and now I'm going to choose the Windows option. And once again, you just go through the installation process. If you have any doubts, just look at the tutorial that I've put together. And if you get stuck, you can always take a screenshot and ask ChatGPT what to do, or even better, you can go to aistudio.google.com and share your screen and have Gemini walk you through the stages. Okay, so now we're ready to launch the video game. So now that I've installed Visual Studio, I can just go down here to my search bar and type in Visual Studio. It pops up immediately. And if I click there, it opens up the software. So the first thing we're going to do in Visual Studio is we're going to add the folder, the arcade development folder, inside Visual Studio. So we go to File, and we choose the Open Folder option. And now I'm going to look for that folder. So inside Documents, I created the Tools for Teens video game taste folder. And there I have my arcade development folder. So I just select that option. And now it's going to import all of the content inside that folder. All right. In case you get this pop-up, you can just say, yes, I trust the authors. And now you can continue. So now on the left-hand side, you can see that all of the content inside the arcade development folder has been imported into Visual Studio. The next thing we want to do in Visual Studio is open up a terminal. So just navigate to the top, select these three little dots, Terminal and New Terminal. Now you can see that we have a terminal and it automatically drags in the file path of this folder that we want to work with. So here you can see it follows the file path, Documents, Tools for Teens, Video Game Taste, Arcade Development. Perfect. So the next thing we need to do is install a specific package. It looks like this: pip space install space -e space dot. So you can just run this code and now you're going to see that Visual Studio Code does the heavy lifting. It's installing the dependencies and all of the other requirements needed to run this video game. Great, so the package has been installed and now we are ready to launch the video game. Let's quickly see where the video game is inside this folder. So if you go to the arcade development folder, you're going to click into arcade and then you're going to go into examples. Inside the examples folder, you will see a platform tutorial folder. Just click inside that. And this file called 20_views is actually the complete video game that I wanted to launch. The beautiful thing about this whole arcade package is that you can see from beginning to end how this video game was built, but we'll explore that more in the next session. So this is the file that I want to launch. Now, how do I get to that file? Well, the quick way is just to copy this file path. So like I said before, you're just going to move all the way to the right until you see that cursor option, and then I'm going to copy that file path. Now I go back to Visual Studio, and now I'm going to say CD for change directory. I'm going to add a space, a quotation mark. I paste in that file path. I end it with a quotation mark, and now I enter. So now you can see that the file path has changed from this to this. So now you can see that we're inside Arcade Development, Arcade Examples, Platform Tutorial. And now I'm ready to launch that specific file. So I go back to this folder. I don't want to make any typing mistakes. So I'm just going to select the file name and that whole 20_views.py. I'm going to copy, and I need to add the command Python in order to launch the code. So Python space, I just paste that in and enter. And there it is. So if I click here, I open the video game. And now is where the fun really starts, because I can start importing my own characters, change some elements in the video game, and build it out as much as I want. I hope this was useful. I can't wait for the next lesson where we build on our knowledge and turn you into a video game designer. I'll see you in the next one. Stay adaptable.